Introducing our new every meat burrito. It's got every meat. Beef,
Bacon, crow,
gator,
bison, jackal,
puffin,
crustacean, naked mole rat,
and every other.
Tastes like chicken.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Binging with Babish, where this week we're celebrating 2 million subscribers the only way that seems suitable, by making the Every Meat Burrito from regular show. It wasn't easy to procure every meat feasibly available to the US consumer, so I thought it'd be fun to take another look behind the scenes of Binging with Babish, because this turned out to be potentially the most expensive and time-consuming burrito ever made. Test. Testies, always hilarious. Alright, let us embark upon this meat journey. Tips for hunting meat: call ahead of time, because we're driving all the way down to Brooklyn today, and we are going to get some exotic meats. We can never get there because it's New York City, and all these people are animals on the road. Yeah, go ahead. Sure, you had a red light like 20 minutes ago. All right, so now we're a little closer to Park Slope, and or maybe like Cobble Hill or something like that. I don't really know where we are. I should look and tell you after I've checked. We're going to Los Paisanos Meat Market, where they're known for their very exotic meats. And this is where we're hopefully going to get some elk, some caribou, some rattlesnake, some alligator, and really round out our every meat burrito. Let's go check it out. I know you guys have some really exotic meats like rattlesnake and stuff like that. So I need every weird meat that you guys have.
So, want it back?
Let's check it out. So is this all the exotic stuff too? All right, let's stock up. Do you have like a basket or something I can load up? Oh my God, this is way better than I thought. All right, let's get started here. Got camel, emu, elk, bison, ostrich, kangaroo, a lot of kangaroo, python fillet, horse, rattlesnake, oh, we got wild boar, alligator, bull fries. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is this not a testicle?
It is.
Bull testicle, of course. We got probably, I don't know, 20 different kinds of meat here. We're stocking up. What's the grand total?
576.
$576 makes this, by a wide margin, the most expensive episode of all time. Thanks for doing all that.
Not a problem.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thank you too, guys. Take care. Have a nice day.
And that guy was a stone cold pro, man. Like, he didn't even bat an eye. He was like, okay, yeah, rattlesnake, all right, python, bull testicle. What else do you want? We had to get tortillas, so we were heading to Mi Barrio, which is a tortilla factory. Not only do we want quality tortillas, we need a big tortilla, because there's so many meats going into this this burrito. We're gonna need room for all of them. My full-time job before Binging with Babish was my full-time job was as a visual effects artist in the commercial industry. My whole job was all the little things that you're never supposed to notice. Like if an actor was wearing a shirt with a Nike swoosh on it, I would get rid of that. Or if they had bags under their eyes, I would lighten those up. And just, sometimes it'd be crazy things like, can you change the color of that guy's shirt? We don't like blue and pink stripes, we want blue and orange or something like that. So just all the things in commercials that you're never supposed to notice. I was in there messing around. I either have Frasier going in the background, Star Trek, Next Generation, and music-wise, it's a collection of electronic, funk, hip-hop. You can actually listen to a playlist that I made called Bangers with Babish. Search for it on Spotify, and you can listen to my playlist of preferred tunes to hear when I cook. I got into cooking because my mom taught me how to cook at a very early age, some very simple things like chocolate chip cookies and stew, and that just sort of implanted a love of food and cooking for family and friends deep in my heart, and I can't get it out. She passed away when I was very young, so it's a very nice way to just sort of remember and feel closer to her, and I'm very happy to play a part in getting other people to try it out too, because that's what she did for me. I had no idea. I used to live like 2 blocks that way. I had no idea that there's an apparently amazing tortilla factory right here called Mi Barrio. Hey there. You need tortillas. You need big tortillas. What are the biggest?
Flour tortillas?
Flour tortillas. What are the biggest one you got?
For burrito?
Yeah. We're gonna get them out the back. We're getting the tortillas out the back. Oh yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Big tortillas.
Anything else?
Maybe just a few keys. Can I just get a couple keys? No? Okay.
No, it's not free.
When you have this much frozen meat, there's only one way to defrost it. No, that's hot. Cold. We want it cold. Save it for 12 hours or something. So anyway, that is the journey that led us to this point where we are now cutting up all 27 different kinds of meats and grinding them into a burrito-friendly state. Making this not only the most labor-intensive episode of Binging with Babish ever, but maybe the most expensive burrito of all time. We're talking about almost $600 worth of exotic meat. All different kinds of stuff, ranging from chicken to beef to pork, lobster, shrimp, fish, duck, lamb, turkey, bison, Cornish game hen, goose, pheasant, quail, rabbit, squab, venison, boar, alligator, antelope, caribou, elk, ostrich, turtle, rattlesnake, and kangaroo. Oh, and bull testicles, of course. What every meat burrito is complete without bull testicles. And you may notice that I'm also adding bacon here because it was one of the very few meats specified by the gym bros that I could actually get a hold of. And even this relatively small constituency of the meat kingdom smells like death. The only spices that seem to make sense are a bit of chili and lime, in the hopes that they will somehow make this cacophonous chorus of foreign flavors somehow work together. And while this is a great opportunity for me to practice my burrito rolling skills, something I've admittedly never done before today, I could tell just by the smell that this burrito was doomed from the start. Even the smell aside, crumbly overcooked ingredients and chewy undercooked ones I suspect rattlesnake and python prevented me from swallowing even the first bite. I'm sorry you all have to see this, but this is the price that we pay for science. I tried to jazz it up with some standard burrito ingredients: black beans, Monterey Jack cheese, salsa, and sour cream, but to no avail. This mixture was full of wild game and meats that were meant to be simmered for hours to bring out their tenderness and subtlety, all of which came together to make a burrito that was at once crumbly and chewy, gamey, and not much else. All that I know is that we can do a whole lot better. What about instead of an every meat burrito, an every pork burrito? Something that includes chicharrones, carnitas, chorizo, al pastor, and of course, bacon. We're starting with chicharrones, a piece of pork belly that we're going to cover in baking soda and salt and refrigerate on a rack for 2 to 24 hours, during which time we'll start to make our spice paste for the al pastor tacos. I'm boiling Babish, guajillo, and pasilla chiles for about 15 minutes or until they're nice and soft, at which point I'm going to strain them and reserve their boiling liquids, wearing seemingly pointless protective gloves while I scrape out the seeds from each and every pepper, returning them to their soaking liquid once they've been deemed seedless. Then we're adding these peppers and their soaking liquid to a high-powered blender along with a little shake of onion powder, a few cloves of fresh garlic, a little shake of cumin powder, a generous pinch of Mexican oregano, and a spirited sprinkling of freshly ground annatto seeds. Once we blend this on high for about 1 minute, it's going to create the smooth and flavorful spice paste in which our al pastor pork is going to live. Speaking of which, we now need to break down a pork shoulder into slices no thicker than 1/4 of an inch thick. We're trying to mimic the conditions under which al pastor is normally created, which means thinly sliced pieces of pork rested for at least 2 to 3 hours in our al pastor marinade, massaged briefly and covered in tin foil, kept in the fridge while we prepare the other porcine players in our porky parade. Next up is carnitas, a kind of pork shoulder that has been braised in orange juice and spices and then shredded and fried until crisp. First up, the braising, wherein we are squeezing a whole orange cut into quarters and then adding the squeezed orange flesh to the meat mixture, along with a few halved serrano peppers, a whole onion roughly chopped, a generous drizzle of vegetable oil, and a healthy seasoning of kosher salt and freshly ground pepper. We're also going to add 4 fresh bay leaves and 6 whole cloves of garlic, halved. I've never made carnitas before, and it seems to be a dish that relies heavily on picking up flavors from its surrounding aromatics. So I'll be curious to see what it ends up tasting like. We're going to give it a little massage to let those flavors get to know each other, and I almost forgot 2 cinnamon sticks underneath a tightly foil wrapped package that we're going to braise at 275 degrees Fahrenheit for 3.5 hours. In the meantime, let's get our chicharrones ready. We're cutting our pork belly into half-inch pieces that we're going to place in a wok and barely cover with water, bringing to a simmer and skimming off any scum that comes to the surface over the next 2 to 4 hours, after which all of the water will have evaporated and all that will be left will be the fat rendered from the pork belly, in which the pork belly itself is going to fry. How barbaric is that? Yet how crispy and delicious. Set aside while we remove our carnitas from the oven, removing from the fruit and spices and shredding to a shredded consistency, which we are going to set aside and refrigerate until needed, because in the meantime we need to make pork al pastor. We are borrowing a relatively ingenious tip from tasty videos, placing some bamboo skewers in a piece of pineapple and using them to layer our meat into a sort of makeshift shawarma that we're going to place in a 350 degree Fahrenheit oven right up against the side wall of the oven, rotating frequently to get that sort of charred shawarma effect. As for the rice factor of our burrito, we're simply taking 3 cups of boiling water, adding 2 squeezed limes, a little shake of cumin, and combining that with 2 cups of long grain white rice in a casserole tightly covered with aluminum foil that we're going to bake for 20 to 25 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. In the meantime, we've got our pork al pastor, which we're going to shave off much like a shawarma, setting aside while we prep our other burrito ingredients. We're going to start by crisping up our chicharrones and carnitas, maybe in a little bit of bacon fat because we're feeling frisky, before spreading down our base layer of white lime rice and a few slices of our chorizo sausage. I forgot to mention this before, but this is an every pork burrito, followed by our nice crispy chicharrones and carnitas. And honestly, I would have included puerco pibil if not for al pastor, which has a very similar marinade and frankly a more impressive presentation. Then we're going to top this off with some Monterey Jack cheese, some salsa, some sour cream, and now that is what I call a burrito. Oh, I'm sorry, I almost forgot the bacon. This is, after all, the every pork burrito, which I would venture to say is even meatier than the every meat burrito. So if there's one lesson to be taken away from this experience, it's not the amount of meat, it's how you treat the meat. Huh. I think I'm going to have that put on a t-shirt.